Welcome to episode 2, The Imagination of the Arcane Explained. Welcome back, everyone, and I'm going to be talking about the imagination. So, what we have to understand about the imagination is we probably didn't understand everything as we do now. We probably don't, for example, the Bible and things that were written in the past, we didn't necessarily understand everything. So, we put all these testaments down, but we truly didn't understand what was going on. Like something else greater than us was trying to reach out and speak to us anyways, okay? That goes for the Hindu as well. The Hindu is based off of something that was given to us that we haven't truly used the code to understand it yet. So the Bible, so there's a lot of math and theory inside of Hindu as well as some other things. In fact, the Bible even has some truths in there. For example, alchemy is the base truth in the Bible in Genesis, where you talk about the 7 days to take to create Earth. Well, that's pretty much the process of alchemy, the process of a planet, which each step took like millions of years. So that's one way to look at it, is that even though we explain all this stuff, it may not exactly be that way, but it's a possibility of it having fact. And then we talk about imagination. This is where it really comes in the future stuff. We look at shows like Star Wars, Star Trek, Stargate. They all have a possibility of the future as far as portals, the Jedi, and the technology of Star Trek, right? Phasers and the engines and stuff like that. So that's definitely a possibility. That's why it's we can take from. However, not all of it is true, and it's mostly a story too. So we understand stories that might have reality and fact may not be completely true, and what we really want to take out is the fact. Okay, and if you're looking into history, that's one thing you would look at anyways. And if you're looking at technology or possibility of science, then yeah, we'd be looking for the fact. But my favorite example is Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop has a very possibility of how we can travel through space and how Mars City might be. So when we look at that, we look at how much fact and fiction there is. Even though it's a story, a lot of the technology and other things like that have a very powerful reality or a possibility that could happen. Okay. So yeah, we have to learn how to separate science or separate fact from fiction. So like science, the reality of, like for example, if you do a test, okay, if you don't know a scientific theory, then you probably should. And it's basically, the scientific theory is basically having a control, and then when you're doing your test, seeing what happens outside of that, right? So when we're doing this stuff, and that includes the spiritual stuff and all that stuff, we always have to go down to base fact and base reality, okay? And that brings us to the next part of Arcane Explained, which will be based on that symbol right there. It was understanding that symbol and what it has to do with reality. Okay. Thank you, Arcane. This is Arcane Explained, episode 2, Imagination.